everyone, welcome back to the channel. Share, subscribe, like this video, make sure you put your prayer request in the bottom. More reports of things moving tonight. Also, on the long-range forecast at the end of this week, now the weather changes. We all know that. It changes every 3 days. But if you live around me here in West Virginia, Kentucky, Ohio, Carolinas, even down to Florida, watch this storm system coming up at the end of next week. It could get nasty. They're looking at maybe a lot of ice could possibly come from this thing. So we all know here in this area and the Carolinas and the Ohio Valley, when ice comes through here, bad things happen. So keep your eyes on that. All right. So tonight, the Netherlands say that President Trump is blackmailing NATO with Greenland tariffs. 15 German soldiers abruptly left Greenland without explanation tonight. French President Macron calls on the EU to use its most potent trade weapon against the U.S. President Trump's Greenland tariffs threat. We talked about the tariffs. They don't bring anything good. Iran's president warns any aggression against the supreme leader would be all-out war, which, like I said, that's every day with them. The Treasury Secretary Bassett tonight, the U.S., says the U.S. must take Greenland because Europe is too weak to defend itself. When you hear stuff like that, boys, you've got to start watching. Italian Prime Minister Meloni calls U.S. President Trump new tariffs on EU countries a mistake. Let's see, Canadian Prime Minister Carney says that he had discussions with the Chinese President Xi over U.S. threats to annex Greenland. I found much alignment of views in his regard. Now, this is listening to the same guy who wants to invade Taiwan. Not very bright. Russian gold reserves surged $130 billion over the past year, totaling $326 billion. U.S. President Trump invites India to be part of the border peace. He's actually invited almost everybody. President Putin understands the U.S.'s rationale of acquiring Greenland, of course, because he invaded Ukraine for the same reasons. European Commission President EULA, we stand firm with uphold the sovereignty of Greenland. U.S. reported considered granting asylum to Jewish people from the U.K. This is just stuff that's coming off the news tonight. There's another one we'll check here in a minute. Trump lawyer Robert Garson says the UK is no longer a safe place for Jews. Not a safe place for them in the United States either. See, audience member tonight interrupted the U.S. national anthem at an NBA game in London. Leave Greenland alone. President Putin's special envoy Kirill Dmitry says join Russia in its fight against Satanism. U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham took a photo with Mossad tonight. See, China economy GDP grows 5% in 2025 despite trade war with the U.S. There's another one came across the main line. Let me get over to it. Something to do with China. They made a remark today about Taiwan. Let's see here. This one's extra interesting, especially if Sister Shelley's listening. Now, let's see, let me get over to it. Now, this came out from their government. Come from their Chinese Ministry of Defense says that they're ready to retake Taiwan over the past year. Our forces have conducted more than 200 military exercises. National unity is not open to discussion, and all central interferences will fail. So he's saying that they're ready to take it now. The next time I think that they've got an open window is spring. It looks like everything's leading us to spring, doesn't it? All right, Trump has, let's see, we talked about that. Gold prices by the night, also tonight has went through the roof again, another record. And right now, silver sitting at 93. The more it goes up, U.S. economy is shattered. U.S. accelerates military buildup in the Middle East. We talked about that. Iran has fired CEO after he failed to fully comply with the government's orders to shut down all the internet there. Remember, they want to keep that internet shut down to almost, March the 20th. Pray for the people in Iran. Iran identified on Sunday it might go ahead and start executing people that they've detained again. So they've made that for people to hear it. It's basically challenging Trump. YouGov poll shows that 86% of Americans disapprove of the U.S. using military force in Greenland. Aides say that Trump is becoming, this is what I was curious about. Remember I said this the last couple of days. Remember, Canada goes to China to go away from us. I was curious what Trump would say about it. Aides say that Trump is becoming very critical of Canada in private conversations with his aides about Canada's now choosing China. And I bet you he's going to say something even worse coming. There is now 35 American F-15s on the ground in Jordan. We talked about that earlier. Thousands of SIM cards, aka cell phones, on people are entering Iraq from Iraq and other places. Pakistan Army Chief will build 6 nuclear bunkers, each for 150 people. That's for his top generals, evidently. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov, Odessa, Kharkiv must return to the Russian Federation. So there's no peace anywhere. Iran president, an attack on the supreme leader would amount to an all-out war. As I said, the war machine all over the planet. There's nowhere to escape it. Now, there's another thing. Another powerful X flare came off the sun tonight. It was a monster. And another earthquake up there in Northern California. On Sunday, January the 18th, astronomers confirmed that the sun unleashed a very strong X-class. It was a monster. From a large active region known as Region 4341. This thing has let off quite a few. One of the most energetic types of interruptions our star can produce. Now, the X-flare represents the highest category on the scale of solar eruptions, the latest event recorded by NOAA. This is part of these birth pains, the floods, the warming, the sunspots, all this. When these flares are strong enough and accompanied by coronal mass ejections, CMEs can send billions of tons of cloud magnetic plasma hurling towards Earth like it did tonight. It was Earth-facing. This particular flare from Region 4341 was powerful enough that NOAA classified as an R3 on a radio blackout scale. It definitely knocked almost all the frequencies out tonight. Strong enough to briefly disrupt certain radio communications on the sunlit side of the Earth. Solar flares themselves don't directly cause auroras on Earth. Instead, the stunning northern and southern lights arise when the coronal mass ejection, CME, a burst of solar plasma and magnetic fields interact with Earth's magnetic field, which has been taking a beating this year, by the way. Forecasters are already watching for increased aurora activity in this weekend due to this storm. If the CME associated with Sunday's X-flare is Earth-directed, which it looks like it was, it could arrive within the next 3 days, looks like, potentially boosting geomagnetic activity. Those disturbances are also a cause of auroras to brighten and extend farther down south to where we can see them down here, which we've been seeing a lot. We talked about the German troops fleeing out of Greenland. Nobody knows quite why that happened. Russia says it's planned to add the international Satanism movement to its financial blacklist. It's basically talking about the Nazis. Trump worried about Canada's Arctic. This is what I was looking for. Trump's worried about Canada's Arctic. So here, I kind of figured this was coming after they went to China. Trump has increasingly expressed concerns about Canada's inability to protect the Northern Territory, so they are next on his list. From potential adversaries using the same national security pretext to use it to justify his push. I knew this was coming. To bring Greenland under U.S. control, so now he's going to use it against them. In private discussion with aides, the president has grown more exercised in the recent weeks about what he sees as Canada's vulnerabilities to alleged encroachment from Russia and China. Watch out, Canada, you're next. Arguing that Ottawa needs to spend more time on defense, and unarmed officials claimed both Beijing, I'll get out here in a minute, I'm tired. I've been putting these the backpacks together tonight. That's what I've been doing for the last couple of hours for the homeless. Both Beijing and Moscow have rejected this narrative. China has previously slammed the U.S. president for using the pretext for Arctic ambitions, while Russia has constantly opposed the regions. And like I said, they're both full of crap. That's exactly what they're doing. Trump is really worried about the U.S. continuing its drift into the Western Hemisphere and is focused on this. Another senior administration official stated that the goal of solidifying the hemisphere, it's called the Monroe Doctrine. Look it up. Obama had the same doctrine, with securing Canada's northern border being a key part of the vision. However, officials were clear that, unlike the explicit pursuit of Greenland, there is no discussion on pursuing Canada. Not of yet, but it's coming. or stationing U.S. troops on the ground along the northern border. This focus, instead of pressuring Canada to bolster its own capabilities and deepen bilateral military cooperation. Now, if they keep doing this with China, just watch, it will get bad. They certainly need to up their game when it comes to the Arctic capabilities. The warnings from the U.S. officials have fueled existing fears in Canada that the country could become one of its next target, and I guarantee it right now, as I'm sitting here, it will be. As he's already made it very clear, even when he was on Air Force One, and Monroe Doctrine calls for the seizure of Canada. It's part of it. On a recent visit to Beijing, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney stated that dealing with China has become the most probable. Then in the complex relationship with Washington, Carney has also publicly echoed Europeans' allies, stating that Greenland's future is a matter of Greenland and Denmark's alone. Basically, he is already getting in Trump's crosshairs because Trump's already made it clear he's taking Greenland. The interesting part for us, we already know where we're going. We're getting ready to leave this place. Thank you, Jesus. But when he takes Greenland, I do predict when he takes Greenland, that's the end of NATO. And that's where Satan wants to take this. Listen, Satan knows America's powerful. He's not stupid. And to bring down the dollar and everything, you got to isolate this country, and that's what he's doing. He's using Trump to do that for him. He's going to isolate it, and NATO will collapse, and then we all know the hell comes after that. But that is what's coming, and we're seeing it in real time happening. He will use these people's pride, their strive for, legacy. One of Trump's biggest heels is his legacy. He's obsessed with it. And it causes him to do things I don't think he would ever want to do. But his legacy, he wants to leave a name for himself, and that legacy is causing him problems. And another thing is, when he took Maduro, he saw how easy it was. That thirst of power can easily take anybody. People think that's funny, and there's no way that can happen. But let me tell you something. When you start seeing that you can take countries, there's something that comes over you. And I've been watching him to see how his reaction was that. So far, his reaction was not what it should have been. He's doing the opposite of what I was worried that he would do. He's doing. He's got a thirst for power now. And it happens to the best of them, people. When you start to realize you're that powerful, this is what the devil does. He can twist you. He's doing this all over the world, including with Putin with Ukraine, the list goes on. And what he's doing, he's converging them. Listen, I'm not trying to be mean to people about politics. I love each and every one of you. I don't want to see people go to hell. That's all I care about. But what I see across the world is they use all these things to cause us to be fighting with each other while they're destroying the world. And we got to be focused on Jesus so we can see what these people are doing. We can't get people on the ark. We're telling them that they got 100 years to be here. Okay? And that's what these people in the church are telling everybody. Oh, you got plenty of time. It's a lie straight out of the devil's mouth. I'm trying to get people to wake up and see that the war, you're already in it. We're already out of time. And that's what's happening here. He's going to use all these very rich, very powerful people. He's going to use their weaknesses, just like he does with me and you. He knows all of our weaknesses. And he uses them against us. And he's using them against these very powerful people to get his plan into place. And that's what we're seeing. And until you step back away from the world, you can't see it. You've got to be able to step away. And then you can look and see how he's manipulating these countries. And that's what he's doing. This war is very important to Satan because this is the war that will bring the Antichrist into power. He will come in with all the tools in his hands because he's only got a short time. Once we leave, he's on the time clock. Very, 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 very short time clock. He knows that. So he's setting up the digital ID, everything. He started with China, with that system they have. I mean, he's been doing this for a while in the process. He knows when the Jews come into the land in 1948, he was on the clock. He knew it. We know it. Most of the world doesn't know it because Satan's convinced them that the Jewish people don't mean anything, or they're not real, or they're this. That's Satan. Because he wants people to hate the Jews because they're the time clock. He don't want them looking at them. Because if you know about the fig tree generation and everybody looking at that, you know what time we're in. Just like dispensations, the rapture, the great falling away was to quit. The teachings of this was from the disciples and everything down. Well, they quit in our time. That is the falling away. The church quit preaching what they was preaching. That is the great falling away. We've already passed it. We're in it. This is what people don't understand. They're like, oh, the great falling away has come first. Honey, we're past it. Everything that Jesus sent down to the disciples, everything given to Paul, they don't teach it anymore. They teach the total opposite. That's the great falling away. There's a remnant of it, and that's the Church of Philadelphia. That's the ones looking for Jesus, know the rapture's coming, know that there's a 7-year tribulation. That's the Church of Philadelphia, people. That's who is listening to this and knows what's about to happen with the rapture. That's the church. That's the Philadelphia church is about to leave here. We're going to leave, and that is the end of that story. We go up, down here becomes hell on earth. That's why we spend so much time trying to get Bibles in every location and everything else we can. So they'll have some tools that once this thing goes down, they're not buying Bibles at Walmart and Amazon. All the Bibles they're going to get is what they find in homes. That's it. There is no more buying Bibles once me and you leave. They will ban them right off the kicker. That's it. It will. I think there might be a 2-week window in there. Once we leave and this war, this nuclear war exchange between America and Russia, it's a limited strike. It's not an all-out strike. There are some people today saying it's not an all-out strike. It's limited. A lot of damage, but it's limited. And if it wasn't for, I do believe, God interfering with it, it'd probably, because there's so much more coming after that, there wouldn't be nothing left on the earth. Okay, so that's why. But still, you got the bowl judgments, the trumpet judgments following right after that. So it's not like they're getting any kind of reprieve by any means. It's hell on earth. But we know a lot of them get saved, and that's the good news. That's why we're doing what we're doing. We leave them the notes, the drives, whatever we could to leave them, to give them a leg up, because they're going to need it. Because from all and out, from all the stuff that we've looked into with people talking about being in the tribulation that's seen it, just like I have, he comes in pretty quickly. Within 2 or 3 weeks, he comes in, or his people does, and starts really laying down the law. So they don't have much time, and a lot of the people are just people that was close to being saved. They just wouldn't take that next leap. So a lot of them actually been listening to us for a while, so they'll have that knowledge that they'll be able to teach those people. Those people will become us in the tribulation. They will be the ones teaching everybody what's to come. The ones that listen to us that would not give their life over to Jesus. They, for some reason, they just would not cross the line. Well, they'll cross that line once we leave, and they'll be your teachers. They'll be the watchers when we leave. And they will start teaching everybody exactly what we've been telling everybody about what's to come and how long and all these other things. Where the Bibles are, and there's letters left. These are going to be your new leaders, telling everybody about Jesus. That's going to be them. But we're close to it. What we're seeing with the sun, the storms, what's happening with Israel and Iran, we're at the door now here. I mean, it's any time that the rapture will take place. Be watching for it, because it is very, very close. Trust the gospel. 1 Corinthians 15, 1-4. Jesus died on the cross for our sins, past, present, and future. He died, was buried, rose again on the third day, according to the scriptures. Trust in Jesus and Jesus alone. Confirm everything through him. Do not take your eyes off of him, people. The world's collapsing faster than we can actually cover at this point. That tells me the baby's about to be born. All right. Iran has defeated the U.S. Now, this came out from Khomeini tonight. Iran prevailed over the U.S. by curbing violent protests and gripped the country, Islamic Republic Supreme Leader Ayatollah said. So he said that they've stopped the demonstrations erupted through Iran in late December over high inflation and over economic trouble. Early this week, however, the authorities in Tehran announced that they had brought the situation under control. In a series of posts on X, masterminding the unrest while signaling out Washington as the main culprit, the U.S. made an extensive preparation to orchestrate this sedition. The sedition was to prelude to even bigger schemes, the Iran nation. So they're saying that whatever this thing was, they had failed, but that's not what we're seeing across the board here. People in Iran are still taken to the streets. That means, this is meaning that Khomeini's scared for his life. That's usually when they start talking like that, they know their end is nigh. New report claims that Russia's plotting a major strike on Europe's largest nuclear power plant line. So this could be a red flag. I know I went ahead and gave the what we talk about here at the end. But this right here, I thought is very important. We might want to hear this out because this is something that could happen very soon. And it looks like, it says Russia is preparing for the target Europe's biggest nuclear power plant power lines in a move that could unfold within days. So we need to keep an eye on this. According to a source familiar with the matter, Ukraine officials are saying this, and you can take that as a grain of salt. But when you start talking about power and stuff like that, we got to pay attention. At some, Moscow's plan was focused on a high-voltage transmission infrastructure rather than direct strikes on nuclear reactors. But a source has since claimed that the Zaporizhzhia, once again, that nuclear power plant, are on Moscow's focus. Now, in a statement on January 17th, the main directorate of intelligence of Ukraine is once again warning that Russia has waged attacks on substations critical to nuclear power. Now, the reason this one's so important, it powers a lot of Europe. It's one of the biggest ones there. In order to force Ukraine, now remember that dream, SVR? Remember the SVR. Ukraine was running out of time. This could be it. This could be what he was telling us about. In order to force Ukraine to sign an unacceptable surrender demand to end the war, the aggressor state Russia is considering the option of attacking strategic facilities in their state energy system. This could be what God was warning us about. We are talking about electricity transmission substations ensure that the operation of Ukraine nuclear power plants. See, Ukraine could take this out, blame it on Russia, and that could be the thing that leads this right into a full-out war. And that's what they want. Ukraine wants that. And whatever it takes. And Europe does too. That's why God was warning me. And then you got people on the Russian side. Remember, the devil's got people on both sides trying to get this war started. And it will start because God's already shown it to us. According to the Associated Press, Russia has also targeted energy infrastructure in Odessa region overnight Sunday. Or was it Ukraine? The thing is, at this point, this is why we tell you to watch Jesus, because the devil's got his little minions on both sides. They're going to get this war. That's why God warned us about it. Our job is to tell you Jesus is coming to get you, and he's coming soon. We're already in Bible prophecy. We've already seen everything with Iran, Israel, all the stuff's there. There's no peace coming. Every bit of peace you're hearing, there's no such thing on this earth, even on the American soil. There is no peace anywhere. This is all a false peace, just like Paul said. And what's next? It's sudden destruction. Where are you going to be when that dark, cloudy day comes? It's coming, people. All I can do is warn you. The Word of God is telling us that we're right at the edge here into the tribulation. Everything's there. We can look around, see Iran, we can see the breakage of Elam's bow. That is like Jeremiah 49. All this stuff's on the verge. All the watchmen are talking about it. We're on the verge of any of them happening. That tells me the rapture is here anywhere. That's why I keep saying it. People, if you don't know Jesus, right now is the time to find him. Because very soon people's going to find themselves in the tribulation, and you don't want that. I want to thank everybody donated through PayPal, Buy Me Coffees, Cash App, and Venmo. Thank you for that. It helps us with the homeless and getting the Bibles out for the tribulation saints before their time is up. Because, it's close. I don't know how much longer we have down here, but boy, I'm telling you, you can see the tribulation. It is right upon us. Every day it gets worse and worse. And I do believe if he does, the word is right now, he's really wanting to take Greenland within the month. That's what we're hearing. If he does, then you're just talking about all hell's going to break loose. And that would give China a chance to go straight up to, they've already made their announcement today that they're going to take it. That's what they said today, the Chinese government. That they're going to take it and there ain't nobody can stop them. That's what they're come out of their mouths today. Wars and rumors of war, it's everywhere. Everywhere you look, on every continent, it's on fire. It's right there in front of people. People just don't want to see it. They're holding on to this world with everything they have and just praying that it stops, but it's not going to. Jesus already warned what was coming. The rest is up to you. You either believe man or you believe Jesus. The rest is up to you. But we've already told you. Jesus has already told disciples. He told us what was to come. We're looking right at it. The rest is up to you. I love each and every one of you. If I don't see or hear from you again, I'll see you at home.